Wedding etiquette varies from person to person, but when preparing a guest list, some of the first people to include are immediate family. That means parents, grandparents, siblings, and other close members. On 21-year-old Rudra's wedding day, his eyes were fixed on the entrance, longing for the arrival of the only guardian he had, his grandmother Pama. Although her name topped his guest list, she was nowhere to be seen at the ceremony. The bride walked down the aisle in the gorgeous gown, but Rudra's eyes were searching for his grandmother. His heart began to race, not seeing her anywhere around. "Where is Granny?" he cried, only to discover just a moment before putting the ring on his bride that his grandma was actually kicked out from his wedding. Of all the people who were excited about Rudra's wedding, it was Pama, who was the happiest. Why wouldn't she be? Her grandson was her world. After Rudra's parents died when he was 5, Pama took him under her wing. She promised her late son that she would raise Rudra into a wonderful human being, and she had kept her promise in most beautiful way possible. Pama was a cook in a local school and invested a good chunk of her hard-earned money in Rudra's education. She was delighted when her boy graduated from best university and thought, all right, my boy is all set to launch his career now. While Pama was accepting to hear some good news about Rudra's new job, it shocked her when he told her he wanted to get married. But son, don't you feel it's too early to get married now? She said disappointedly. And you have just started working. You are too young for family life. To her dismay, Rudra wouldn't listen because he was blindly in love with Natasha, his girlfriend. I can't say no to Natasha. She wants us to get married as soon as possible. I love her so much, Grandma. As usual, Pama trusted Rudra's decision and agreed. But as days passed, she noticed he would often come home late at night, tired. Pama was worried because it appeared Rudra was no more the happier version of himself. He was always exhausted and barely come home for dinner. Beta, you look so tired. Why do you work so much? Pama asked Rudra one day. His reply shook her. Grandma, Natasha wants to get married on the second Saturday next month. I don't have enough money right now, so I am working part time in the store to earn money for the wedding. We had decided to contribute equally to our wedding preparations because she thinks the expenses would be too much for her widowed mother. Although Pama was happy to see how hard Rudra worked, she was worried. We only have a few days left for the wedding, son. Will you be able to manage everything? She could see a strange pain in Rudra's eyes. He told her that he still did not have enough money for the wedding. And she fights with me almost every evening we meet. It hurts me to the core, Grandma. Sometimes I feel I should just cancel the wedding and break up with her. She never understands me, he cried. Pama's heart churned. She knew how excited Rudra was about the wedding, and she did not want him to call it off. So she withdrew all the money she had saved for her old age and gave it to him to spend on the wedding. Pama's love for the Rudra blinded her, and she did not see what was coming. Rudra was so happy, and Pama was equally delighted. But that joy came with a hefty price. She had drained her savings till Pama was looking forward to seeing the beautiful outcome. Thank you so much, Grandma. I promise to repay you very soon, Rudra cried. Pama was glad to hear this, although she was not accepting a dime back from him. The big day arrived. Guests started flocking to the wedding venue. The main hall was filled with laughter and the dining area smelled of delicious cuisine. It was such a lovely sight, and soon the bride was walking down the aisle. blushing under her veil. Rudra's heart began to beat faster. The long awaited moment had finally come. It was time for their vows. He turned toward his side to hold his grandmother's hand, but she wasn't there. Rudra grew anxious. He had told Pama to stand beside him when it was time to exchange the wedding rings. He wanted her to be in all the photographs. Where is Granny? I don't see her anywhere. Where did she go? She said, worried. Rudra, what is it? Put on the ring, will you? Natasha said, snapping at her groom. People are watching. What are you doing? Who are you waiting for? Where is my grandma? I can't do this without her. Natasha winced. Your grandma is not that important now. Put on the ring and don't make a scene. She must be lost in the crowd or something. But Rudra's heart wouldn't allow him to do it. No, I am not marrying you without my grandma. Where is she? Natasha turned red with fury. Your grandma wouldn't be attending this wedding. I told her not to. I denied her entry. Now put on the ring, she said, grinding her teeth. Rudra was startled. You buried my granny from our wedding? But why? It turned out that Pama did not have the money to buy a lovely sari for the wedding. So she wore an old sari from her wardrobe. Natasha spotted her and decided Pama's old shabby sari didn't live up to the wedding's dress code. And so I politely asked your grandma not to attend our wedding. She would have looked like a clown in a dirty old sari and spoiled our day. She just smiled and walked away. I thought she was okay with it, revealed Natasha, angering Rudra. How dare you do this to my grandma? There would have been no wedding today without her. He yelled, hurling the ring at Natasha's face. Rudra stormed out to see Pama in her house because he knew how hurt she must be. Beta, what are you doing here? You are supposed to be at the wedding. Why have you come here? Pama asked, hiding her tears. Rudra, who now realized how cunning and selfish Natasha was, had already decided he would not go back to worshipping her again. Wedding? Are you serious, Grandma? Why didn't you tell me that she asked you to leave the wedding? And how could you even think I would marry someone without your presence? You are more important to me than anyone else, he cried on Pama's lap. But what about your wedding, son? She did she doesn't deserve us, Grandma. Let's forget the selfish woman and focus on our lives now. Although Pama was sad that her grandson called off his wedding, she respected his decision. She also thought he deserved a better life with someone who appreciated him and did not only use him to feed their fantasies. From that day onward, Rudra worked very hard. He moved to a better job and was able to buy a nice house for his grandma. He even opened her new saving accounts where he deposited thus the amount she spent on his wedding. 3 years later, he married another woman in his granny's presence, and with her blessing, it was the happiest day of their lives. And Pama couldn't help but shed only tears of joy that day. So, what can we learn from this story? Family is more important than everyone else.